Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video, here to once again talk about the insane success of Palworld. Look, leading up to the release of this game, I was talking about how I was very confident in how this game was going to do. I was very confident that it was going to be the top seller on Steam. I was very confident that it was going to sell north of 1 million copies on day one, and I was probably even more confident than a lot of other people in how well this game was going to do. But I always prefaced anytime I talked about how well this game was going to do that it really doesn't matter how it does initially. In terms of what really matters is the longevity of this game, and the name of the game in games like this is keeping players engaged for a longer period of time. But if we don't acknowledge the absolute staggering number of players that Palworld has received, and even with my expectations being relatively high on how this game was going to be received, it has taken my expectations, it has thrown them on the ground and stomped it into a bloody pulp, because I, in my wildest dreams, would not have imagined that the game, to get to a point 3 days after release, to be sitting at 1.6 million concurrent players. Look, I was blown away when the game had 800,000 concurrent players. We have now gotten to a point where that number has been doubled. I don't even know what the ceiling of this game is, how far it can go, but this is absolute insanity, and I get it. There's now been, whenever a game gets big, there has to be a little bit of a pushback, and I don't even understand why, people are worried about, Game Freak and Nintendo and, AI's being used and they're copying Pokemon. Guys, Game Freak and Nintendo need some sort of competition. They need to be thrown on their asses at least a little bit, actually a lot, and let Palworld do that. I can't believe that anybody would look at Palworld, and if you want to, super analyze every aspect of the game, go for it, but Palworld is the best case scenario for the consumer. In its own right, the game is really good, and best case scenario would be it'd be a check and a kick to Nintendo to improve their stuff as well. And you know what? If it doesn't even improve their stuff, maybe Nintendo's like, alright, we don't care, Pokemon's still king, and they just keep going as they do. Great! At least you have this other game that has, it's not even, similar to Pokemon in the sense that there's so much emphasis in the survival mechanics. Really, why it popped off was because of the character designs and the mon designs and things like that. Yes, I get it, but if you really assess it from a gameplay standpoint, it's totally different than Pokemon, and that's one of the reasons why I think people are enjoying it so much, because they like the idea of having all of the creatures, the pals in this game, but they need different gameplay fundamentals, and this one offers a lot of different gameplay fundamentals. But guys, the success level for this game is absolutely staggering, and what has happened is that there was awareness of this game prior to its release, but it would be one of those games that I would have to bring it up to my boys and my friends so that they would be aware, and once they saw it, they were absolutely interested to an extent. I think a lot of people got the meme aspect to it, and they're like, alright, how good is a meme really gonna be? But they were all interested in the game. And then when the game came out, and this is how the gaming landscape has totally changed in 2024. What has changed in 2024 versus a decade or two ago? The internet is so much more prevalent than ever. Word of mouth is a real thing, and that is a real promotional vehicle for games like this, and really a way more effective promotional vehicle than just about anything else. Look, if your friends are enjoying a game, that is the biggest kind of selling point that you can have on a game. If you can have the validated opinions of others, that you respect their opinions to an extent, that is way more powerful than any kind of promotional vehicle that is gonna be marketing push or anything like that. It's not like Palworld. I don't know what kind of marketing budget Palworld had, but it's not like there were commercials, billboards, anything like that. It certainly didn't have the commercial and promotional vehicle that a Spider-Man 2 or the latest Call of Duty or, games like that had. But what it did have is word of mouth and interest from a premise standpoint, and those two combined together, you're gonna do very well. And it's also led, let's put that 1.6 million number aside, the game has sold 5 million copies in 3 days. We are talking about this game outselling the biggest AAA titles of last year in the same amount of time window. Will this game end up being the best-selling title of 2024? Guys, there's a real possibility. I don't know if this is going to be factored into like the breakdown and the top list of best-selling titles, because usually early access titles aren't charted when it comes to that, but like Spider-Man, I want to say sold like, what, 3 million copies in the first week? Final Fantasy 16 was like 3 million copies in the first week. This is 5 million in just 3 days, and on top of that, this is a game that's only going to continually get better and better throughout the year. It is going to have multiple surges of interest as long as Pocket Pair as a studio delivers updates on a consistent basis. And when I say consistent, I'm not saying drop an update every 2 weeks that, you know, you can promote. You don't have to do that. I actually had a conversation with a buddy of mine about this, and we were talking about how consistently should they update the game. No, they should update the game regularly with bug fixes and tweaks and things like that. Yes, definitely do that. But content updates, I would rather them go monthly or even bi-monthly, because you want it to be a content update that's reasonable enough and substantial enough where it reignites player interest. And because, guys, 1.6 million 3 days after, great. It's not going to be sustainable 3 weeks from now, a month from now. It's going to fall a little bit, but if you have substantial content updates monthly or bi-monthly, it's going to surge back up. Maybe not to like 1 point. I don't know what this game's ceiling is going to end up being. I thought 800,000 was going to be the ceiling. I didn't think it was going to crack 1 million. I'm not putting anything past the table or anything, you know, out of the realm of possibility at this point. It might hit like 2 million players. Who the F knows at this point? Like, I'm not even like gonna try to predict that, but at some point the player base will fall, and I think the way you sustain that level of interest, or at least, you know, give it surges of interest, is by doing substantial content dumps. Because every time I've been talking to somebody about this game, they're like, I'm liking this game, but they should add this, but they should do that, but they can go here. And guys, that's an exciting thing for an early access game. That's how an early access game is supposed to be like. I like the game, but X, but Y. That is the name of an early access game. You're supposed to communicate your desires to the studio, and then it's up to them to implement it in a competent and well thought out way. And hopefully they do that. But this is exactly how early access is supposed to go. I think what happened was, like, a lot of people, this was their first early access game ever. Like, this game has totally hit the casual mainstream zeitgeist of gaming, which is super great for it, but they're also not familiar with how the early access process goes. So every time I hear something like, but it needs this, but it needs that. Guys, yeah, obviously, it needs a lot of things. It's an early access game, but yeah, I get it. Like, a lot of people checking this game out aren't familiar with what early access as a model even is, but you know, Palworld is their first introduction to that, and this has just been a wild ride to cover. Like, we've been covering this game for weeks before the launch of the game, and like the first video I think I did, I mean, I talked about this game way before the release date was announced for the early access, but the first vid I did was, how is this even possible in terms of the legality issues? Now it's just like, oh my goodness, I don't know if Nintendo's lawyering up right now. I guess they have no legal grounds to stand on. It's just like, if I was Nintendo, if I was just looking at Palworld, I certainly would be feeling some type of way that, like, yo, like, play the damn game and tell me that some of these mods don't remind you of some of the other mods. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm not saying I want Palworld to get hit with any legal issues. No, I want this game to be even more successful. We need competition in that space. As great as Temtem, Nexomon, Cassette Beast, etc., nothing has popped off and resonated at the level of Palworld, and that's what you need in a market like this that has been so dominated by one team in Pokemon. And obviously, again, Palworld from a fundamental gameplay standpoint is so far and wide different than Pokemon, really. As far as the Mons go, more than anything, it's used as a promotional vehicle and to get people interested. And then it's when they play the game that they become super invested into it. But nonetheless, just staggering success for this game. It is the most concurrent played Steam PC paid game of all time. So, like, from here on out, we're just hitting uncharted territory for this game. I do kind of feel bad for all of the other survival games, like Enshrouded is coming out later this week, I believe. Like, oh my god, like, I feel bad for those devs, but, you know, what can you do? This is the name of the game, and, yeah, this is gonna be a game that a lot of people are into for a long time. 42,000 reviews right now, 93% positive. I saw it get up to 94% yesterday. You know, it's so shy of that overwhelming, like, if they hit overwhelming positive, like, at that point, this launch has just been such a home run, I mean, it's already a home run success. I don't know what superlative I could use to really describe how successful this has been, but, yeah, I'm sure Pocket Pair is absolutely ecstatic, and I'm sure, you know, they're looking at these sales numbers, and they're looking at offers they're getting from various publishers, and Microsoft, I mean, they got this game on Game Pass, although I did hear this Game Pass version is kind of janky. Not a lot of people are playing it on Game Pass, but you know what, it's in there, so, you know, good for them. But that'll do it for me. Again, Palworld just been a colossal success, but let me know your thoughts, your opinions on the game. How are you enjoying it so far? But that'll do it for me. Your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.